Good afternoon, Yuba Sutter. This is the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight, and we are going to be live here at Mount Huth for the next 2 hours. Just a quick update. Randy's off this week. He's getting his house ready to sell because he is going to be fleeing to Idaho, and in wake of, before I believe the election even, he's going to get out of this state.
He's part of the exodus.
Yes, the mass exodus that's happening right now. But the Political Spotlight has picked a replacement for him, and she's going to be filling. Yeah, I said she is going to be filling in for him from time to time while he's getting ready to leave, and then she'll be his permanent replacement once he does leave. And what we've picked is, I'm going to read from a script here because I couldn't remember it all because it's not something that I would normally say. The Spotlight has picked someone to help fill the side of the public officials, like the fascist Darren Gale and Steve Krager. She will also help see the supervisors and city council's point of view. She should make the Spotlight a fair and balanced radio show.
Nice.
Definitely fair.
Okay, not really. I'm lying. That's
unfair and unbalanced.
So really, actually, she's been doing this much longer than we have and has been in the fight much longer than we have and been in the trenches much more than we have.
She's prettier, too.
She's prettier than you.
Then what? Then who? I'm offended now. I'm very offended, Tom. Wow. Anyways, it's going to be Liz Cervantes, and she's ran for supervisor and goes back to the trenches very deeply, a long way back, further than most of us. So we're going to have her on the show. We kind of twisted her arm and fed her a bunch of margaritas to accept, and now we won't let her back out. But the fact is we've got her, so it should be a pretty seamless transition whenever Randy does go, but we're going to let him finish out. He wants to finish out his days here, but he had something to do this weekend. She'll be a permanent fill-in until he's gone, and then she'll be running along.
So good afternoon, Liz.
Hello. So happy to be here.
Welcome.
So today we have Mike Zigenmeyer with us. He's running for Sutter County Supervisor. Supervisor, not Superintendent.
I know,
District 3. Thank you, Liz. See, I can get help from the other side. No. So Supervisor, District 3, Sutter County. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
No problem, buddy. So what do you guys got? Do you guys got anything to open with before we let Mike run this thing?
No, I think pretty much what we're going to do is let him lead us off with telling us a little bit about his platform and what he's standing for and his background and intent of this whole thing. And then we'll, see where that leads and if we have some questions to lob at him.
Awesome.
Oh, well.
Have at it, buddy.
A little bit about me. Born and raised in Sutter. I've been married to my wife. It'll be 10 years in about 5 days. So very excited. We have 3 amazing kids. Lived here my whole life. Born and raised. Been coaching high school football for the last 12 years. I gave it up about 3 years ago to put a little more emphasis in the company. My family's owned and operated Sweco products since 1946. My wife and I started 5-Star Equipment Rental in 2014. So we're pretty excited.
So you're going to have a anniversary here in a few days.
Yeah, we're 10 years, 10 amazing years.
What day? I'm having one.
July 26th.
Oh, okay. I'm on July 29th.
Yeah, congratulations too.
How many years for you, Tom?
40.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
40 years in the hole.
I'm barely 40 years old.
Yeah.
You're over 40.
You know what, though? But
barely
as long
over
as you
40.
enjoy each other's company, it's like my wife and I, you go out and sit by the fire. And when you sit back and you relax and you could have fun with each other and it's just you two, everything's perfect.
Yes.
The kids are staying then at grandma's house. Just the two of us get to
that
relax.
is perfect.
It's nice, yes. Oh, yeah. Especially when you have a 3-year-old that likes to get up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah. And all my kids are gone.
Do they
That's
come
nice.
back better behaved from Grandma's house? Or is it like all learning is lost and you got to
I don't want to answer that on the radio.
She might be listening.
Enough said.
Yeah, they're grandparents for a reason. They get to get away with a little more, get a little more leeway.
Yes.
Yep.
And rightfully so. right?
Yeah, that's the way it should be. Well,
Yeah. Because we already paid our dues raising the kids.
now it's your job just to stir it up and see if we can make it
Yeah.
stink, huh?
Yeah, and give them little things to say when they go back home.
Oh, boy.
Well, let's see what else Mike has to say.
Well,
for us.
you know what? I'm going to tell you a bit about my top priorities. And my number one deal is public safety. Well, actually, I'd say that my top four: public
Okay.
safety, infrastructure, economic development, and fiscal responsibility. And we'll start out with public safety. I strongly support our Sutter County Sheriff's Department and fire departments. I'm going to work hard to ensure that they have all the resources necessary to serve and protect without raising taxes.
There we
Oh,
go.
Yes,
Oh, that's a
without
good
raising
one.
taxes.
Oh, that's different.
Now let's start out with infrastructure. We need to develop a long-term plan to ensure Sutter County has safe roads, safe levees, and safe bridges. We need to develop this plan and we need to follow it. Economic development. We need to create a more business-friendly environment while preserving our precious ag ground. God is not going to invent no more dirt. What we have is what we have left. Fiscal responsibility. We need to evaluate and prioritize our spending. So we need to evaluate and prioritize Sutter County's needs so they can best be met without further burdening our tax-paying public.
I love that.
So refreshing. As a taxpayer, oh my gosh.
well, and
So
you know,
you've
we've already.
never served as a politician. You
No,
said.
I'm not a
Wow.
politician. I'm just a business owner and a family man and a public servant.
Well, I don't know if you know.
Why are you in the game?
I want to make a difference. I'm tired of sitting back and seeing what's going on. I'm sick and tired of it. And by golly, we need change, and we need change now.
Well, and we saw your buddies, your opponent's tax plan. I guess that's the only thing I know to call it is the tax plan because
Yes.
everything in there was about taxes. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you know, but we nicknamed him the tax man because I mean, just everything he had to say was about raising taxes and getting it out of the people somehow. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you, we're done. We're tired of it. I mean, this is crap.
There's never an end to raising more taxes and higher costs.
Yeah, our pockets are bottomless, apparently.
Mine are. They cut the bottoms out of them.
Well, at least by a grand.
I won't go. Never mind. We're good.
Mike,
Yes.
tell us about Sweco.
Okay, so Sweco, my dad founded the company in 1946 with it borrowed a Tetna welder from his brother and started the company. Matter of fact, right after we got our World War II. We've been building and manufacturing, most notably agriculture equipment, since, like I said, since 1946, shipping it all over the world.
So important.
So you're manufacturing heavy equipment or
Yes.
light equipment?
Well, we manufacture heavy equipment and light. Matter of fact, if you brought in a project, let's say we just developed a spreader for Myers and Son Construction out of Sacramento. They needed a spreader that was going to fold up less to 8 feet so they could put it on the semi-truck, ship it all over the world. And it needed to fold out to 12 feet. So they brought the product to us. Our engineers developed, designed it, and we built it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, very
we have
exciting.
we have a lot of spreaders in Sutter County, but what they spread is quite a different matter.
But your dad built that company,
Uh-huh.
and then your family runs the company now, correct?
Yeah, well, I stepped down from being president last year when I decided I wanted to run for Sutter County Supervisor. We found an amazing gentleman that's worked for us for a number of years, Ron Kelly, and we figured, you know what, we're going to put Ron in that position. I really want to make a run at this. I think I could do an outstanding job. And
Awesome.
You know, congratulations on going through the primary.
well, thank you very much.
That's
Thank you.
huge.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, especially not ever having been in the public eye politically like that. You're kind of like the underdog, and yet you came out on top, which is awesome.
Yeah, and you were a family unit doing that. That
It-
was
it
just
w-
you and your wife.
It was complete family unit. My wife and I, up till 2, 3 in the morning, we were very lucky to have a couple friends, Michelle and Lisa and Julie and Debbie and Brandon, Michelle. Like I said, quite a bit of friends that came on board to help out as well. I have amazing friends and amazing support. I'm very lucky.
Well, what I think is awesome and refreshing is to see some, just a couple of the candidates so far that are coming up for this next election. You guys are businessmen. You took on this family-run company that has been successful. You've grown it. You've proven your success and your business sense. And Obama would say you didn't build that, but
That's where I was going.
we know you did. We know that's not how it works. You built that. You grew that. You have the business sense. You don't have the politician underhandedness, doing favors, all that experience. You come from the perspective of running a legitimate business and let's get something done, like our illustrious new awesome president who, built his empire. And that's what we need. We need people like you and like Dave Shaw who have proven their knowledge and their know-how and they've become successful business people. You've run a successful business, and that's who we need running our government, is not people that have been public servants their whole lives and only worked for local government and don't have the experience of how to build a business, how to actually contribute to the economy. All they do is they get a paycheck from those taxpayers, and they don't have any real life experience.
And understand you have a budget to work within, and you work within that budget. Otherwise, you go bankrupt.
Absolutely.
There is no other pocket to reach into.
Because you know what mentality they come from? They're given an annual budget, and their department has X amount of dollars to spend. Well, what happens is if they happen to be really thrifty with that money and fiscally responsible, then at the end of the year, next budget comes around, oh, well, you didn't need all that, so we're going to lower your budget. They don't like it when their budget gets lowered. So what does that breed? That breeds waste, because they need to use all those dollars so that they get the same amount, if not more, in next year's budget. That's not what we need running our cities and our counties. We need businessmen who can be fiscally responsible and who understand how to be fiscally responsible, and you've proven that.
I couldn't agree more, and especially, with my love of the community and how long I've been vested in the community. I've been volunteering since I was 15 years old, and I believe the community needs a supervisor is the voice of the people. So it's important that they be one-on-one with the people, working with the people, volunteering, and so forth.
Exactly.
Mike, we know where you come from. We know. I would love to know about your work with the children. Obviously, the political spotlight is all about the children, right? Right? I've heard that a time or two before.
You have, huh?
Yes, I have. However, I know that you have...
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Okay, I'm not going to cackle too much. Trying to keep controlled here, but Mike has such an amazing history with children.
Well, I've been
Not the creepy kind.
I've been
Not the
very
creepy
fortunate enough to be part of some
Not
That's
the
really.
later.
Not the dirty wit
That's
stuff.
later.
Not the dirty wit kind.
Sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
I've been lucky to be around some great people. When I was 14, 15 years old, Kelly Parks lived next door, and he said, "Hey, Mike, why don't you come out and be an umpire and help out the Little League?" I said, "You know what? That sounds like a lot of fun." So I got hooked on it, and it was fun. Mm-hmm. All right. So I did that. And as soon as I turned 18, I was actually a volunteer firefighter for 2 years for Sutter County. So that was a good time. I started coaching a year after I got out of high school. First year was with Marysville High School. Went back to Sutter. Went to Live Oak for a year. Volunteered at River Valley. I've been at Sutter for the last few years. Absolutely enjoy the staff. I love the game and I love the kids. It's fun to be around with. While doing all this, my wife and I started the Sutter Youth Organization Foundation, which we started money to put a new pool in Sutter. So that was really exciting when we got our new pool. So really neat for the community, brand new Olympic-sized pool, timers, everything state-of-the-art, really awesome. I'm involved with the Sutter Yuba Community Foundation, another great organization. We do a lot of great things in here with the food banks and so forth, helping out the kids and sports and everything else. I've been on the Sutter Little League board for the last 4 years. I'm the fundraising manager, so I really enjoy that. Plus, I've coached for the last 4 years.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
When did you decide to run for supervisor? I just want to do a time count here. When did you decide I'm going to run for supervisor
When I was 27,
when you were 27. So when was that?
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I started. I thought a lot about it. That's when James Gallagher ran, actually.
Uh-huh.
And I said, you know what, I can do this. But you know what, it just with starting a new family and everything, and we had just bought our older brother out of the company about 3 years prior. So we really wanted to put an emphasis more on the business and the family. So I said, I'm going to hold off. And then I held off another 4 years. And then I thought Larry was going to retire actually 4 years ago. And then this time I said, you know what? I need to get in. I need to make a change. I can't sit back. So that's really what pushed me over the edge. Plus,
What are some of the things that have irritated you?
one of the biggest things?
Yes, as just living in Sutter and watching the Sutter County Board of Supervisors.
One of the biggest things was sitting back and watching the people of Sutter not want to change the ground on Acacia Avenue from agriculture to commercial. Everyone at that meeting, except for one person, wanted to keep it agriculture. Our supervisors voted against the people that evening, the people of Sutter, because they said, this is going to be good for you, you're going to want that. I said, how dare you vote against something that we do not want?
Wonder which one of them got their pocket full.
Yeah. Well, I was very upset over that. I said, and I got up, I said, I'm going to run, I'm going to win, we need change.
Excellent.
Awesome. I don't want to ask a hard question right now, but the fact is
That's not what we're about.
well, and
No
so-
softballs, is that what you're saying? Or?
Well, and the problem is it came in from our Facebook page from one of our listeners, and they want to know what you think of the grand jury report that isn't.
Well, before he answers that, we did discuss that in our interview. The Spotlight had an interview with Mike, and we got into that. And I really appreciated his passion that he came out with of the unjustness that this whole situation brings. So we've talked about
Yes.
it, and yeah, we don't censor questions. We'll have him answer the question.
Okay, have at it. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. There it is. They're wanting to know. The people are wanting to know. That's just it.
Yeah, 'cause
I am blown away that this report hasn't come to light. How come it hasn't been shared out with the public? It makes no sense. You go back year after year after year, there's a grand jury report. The grand jury was set out to
Be the watchdog.
to be the watchdog, correct. To look over our elected officials, to look over to the departments and find if there were any corrupt or any wrongdoings. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, it doesn't make sense when you have all this public money spent, all this taxpayers' money spent on this report that is not coming out. It doesn't make any sense.
It's not
Right.
seeing the light of day.
No.
Yes, so
Why do you think that, Mike?
Well, they're more and less leading us to believe that there's a cover-up somewhere, that there's a scandal somewhere.
exactly.
And the longer they keep this thing from coming out in the public, the more and more people are going to think that way.
Yep.
And something's wrong here.
That's right, the more it grows.
Have you talked to any of the supervisors about it? Is what they're asking now. Have you?
I have not.
You have not?
No.
Okay. I think maybe that ought to be the next step, but I think all the people ought to be down there just raving mad.
All the people need to be talking to all the supervisors and asking them why are they not up in arms about this. Basically, they've silenced the people's voice. I mean, that's what the grand jury was there to do, was to bring these things to light, and yet they've just squelched them right out.
I think you nailed it right on the head right there, Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
They squashed the people's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The public servants squash the voice of the people. Now, that is out there. That stinks to high heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be changed right
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
Well, and it's like I said last weekend, is the fact is when have you seen a politician that whenever he does something that he thinks is halfway good isn't around there wanting a pat on the back for it? If he does something that he knows is sneaky and underhanded, you damn rights he's out there trying to hide it and cover it up the best he can, like dirty wit. Yeah. And that's the issue, guys. Is
Or spin it in a different direction.
exactly. And so if they're trying to squish it and it's like I say, if it's in politics and it's secret, it ain't good. You can bet on it, because if it's good, they're wanting a pat on the back for it.
Just wondering, they've now impaneled a new jury. Who in their right mind would want to serve in an institution as a watchdog after what we have just experienced? I cannot understand how those good people would want to continue.
Yeah, why are they going to waste all that time, devote all that time and energy into a process that isn't going to go anywhere if they actually want to, reveal some actual wrongdoing?
And that are terrified in the process.
Right. Terrified
Because
of the repercussion.
that is what we are facing right now. These people are terrified. We are interested only in protecting the people's report. We're not interested in anything else. Let the public sort out this grand jury report. We can do it. We can handle the truth. We just need to know what it is.
Well, so
I think there's some people that just can't handle the truth.
want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
we're actually in receipt of a letter that might shed some light as to why the Board of Supervisors haven't been more outspoken about this whole shenanigans.
I think the Board of Supervisors and the department heads as a whole, so we have become aware of a document that was received July 9th, dated July 6th, that says, "Dear," it's blacked out, which we're not interested in who it went to, right?
Right.
We're worried about who it came from. Is that blacked out too?
No,
Oh,
we
okay.
got that.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
we got that.
Awesome.
So you just let me know when you're coming down to your bottom of the hour, the hard break.
Well, we're getting there. Let's go ahead and let Mike wrap it up for 2 minutes, and then we'll get on, and then we'll get our half-hour break in. Go ahead, Mike. Close it out for 2 minutes, buddy. Whatever you want to say.
Well, once
Put
again,
you on
I'm
the
Mike
spot.
Zigenmeyer, running for Sutter County District 3 Supervisor. I love this community, and I know you all love this community too. If you want someone that's a hard worker, someone that's going to put the community first, put your families first, that's me. I'm your guy, and I would appreciate and be honored to receive your vote. And I appreciate you all bringing me on tonight or today. Thank you very much. We appreciate
Mike,
everything.
how can people reach you?
You could call me at 530-682-4201 or come by my shop anytime. I'll be there from 7:30 to 5 most days.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate where you're coming from and the fact that you qualified your support of public safety with the phrase of "without raising taxes."
Absolutely.
We really appreciate that qualification there, because your opponent seems to think that he needs to continue to dip into taxpayers.
Got to
pockets.
prioritize your spending. That's what you have to do.
Yep, I like it.
Well, Mike, we've already talked to you, and you basically got the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight's endorsement. We're gonna get you lined up. We've got a headquarters now will be online about August 1st. We're still kicking around the date for sure when we're gonna open it, but we'll get together with you, get an event date set up, and we'll supply all the food, we'll supply all the entertainment. All you need to do is show up and speak to the people, and you're gonna get all the donations, buddy. So we're gonna help you out as much as we can and get you in there, and then hopefully you'll be able to make it by on our election night party, and we'll get you out here sometime this week to get you a radio ad set up that we can play every weekend for you, and we're going to get you as much advertisement and everything we can possibly do for you to get you through this thing, man. Because I mean, you're in for a fight, buddy. Make no doubt about it. You're in for a fight, but your smile there makes me tell you you're ready for it. You're okay with it. That's awesome.
I'm good.
Good job. I love it.
Mike, as you've been an employer, how long have you been an employer?
About 15 years now.
15 years?
Yes.
Yeah. For what size crew do you have?
57 employees.
57 employees. Wow. And that's full time.
Yeah, it's 57. We have, out of those, we have 4 part-timers. Our average employee's been with us for 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've heard every excuse in the book also, haven't you?
Well, we're a pretty big family. That's what we are. We're family.
That's
And,
awesome.
You're not gonna. They're not gonna pull the wool over your eyes too easily, all right? I mean, you're pretty savvy having 57 employees to all the game playing that might go on sometimes.
I know what's right and I know what's wrong.
Yes.
Yep.
So how is that going to help you in your supervisor position?
Well, I believe it'll benefit me. I mean, more than anything. I mean, it's plain and simple. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. And lately, there's been too much gray.
That's a heck of a lot more than we can say for any of them right now. I mean, at least he knows right from right, wrong from wrong.
So, do you think, as a supervisor, you'll be able to, tighten up the belt a little bit, look in on your department heads, and get some people? I mean, in private business, you have to produce. Your whole team has to produce. You can't have people standing around staring at their belly button, right?
If you have a department that's lagging, you have to audit that department and find out what's wrong with that department, why they're not producing.
Yes. So as a supervisor, will you be able to get in there and oversee any waste? We know that in government, like Tammy also mentioned, there's waste, fraud, and abuse, all time after time, day after day, all the time. And the people, I believe, deserve a supervisor that's going to oversee and make sure that gets squashed and get some productive action going from all public employees.
I agree, 100% agree with you.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
I think that's what we lack.
Yes.
All right, Mike. Well, this is your song, but thank you for coming out, buddy. We greatly, greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you soon, man.
No, I appreciate
guys
each
go
and
ahead.
every one of you. Sorry.
No
Very
problem.
nerve-wracking.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
No, thank you.
Sheriff Steve Durfer. I fully endorse Captain Brandon Barnes to be your next Sutter County Sheriff. I've worked with Captain Barnes for over 20 years. Brandon is a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy. He was our former SWAT commander and chief of investigations and now holds one of the highest positions in law enforcement as jail commander. He leads and manages a staff of over 80 personnel and an inmate population of almost 400. Folks, your sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in the county. Experience and character are critical. That's why 13 active California county sheriffs, including myself, endorse him. I am beyond confident that Captain Barnes has the skills, the temperament, and the vision to lead Sutter County. I believe this is the most important vote on your ballot. I encourage you to vote Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff 2018.
All right, and we are back. That was Mike Zigenmeyer. I think he's going to make a fine
Supervisor.
I was thinking city council again. So many people are running for city council. I'm getting confused.
Well, you can tell he's not a soothsayer.
No.
You know what I mean? He's not a,
Not going to tell you what you want to hear.
That's right.
He's going to tell you how it is.
I was going to say something else, but I refrained.
Well, you know,
Not often I refrain.
you know what I really appreciated about Mike is, and this happened during our interview, is we in our interview we're not holding anything back, and we were asking some really tough questions, and
Well, Liz was.
yeah, we're going to make sure that the candidate doesn't sit next to Liz next time. We've learned.
long as they're not within arm's reach, I think we're okay.
I think
No.
it's safe to say that we told him we were on his side.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were on his side, but then we just had to.
We were brutally honest with him and asked some tough questions.
Yep.
But here's the thing. The thing that stuck out in my mind most about that interview was when he got so passionate and he just came alive. And you could see he was speaking from his heart. He was passionate because he cared. And I just so want that to come across to the public.
Yeah.
I so want that. I want other people to see that.
It wasn't scripted at all.
No.
I can't wait until they back him into a corner on in a forum.
I think he'll do the hard work.
I do too.
That's what I'm looking at, man. How sincere is he about the job, and does he have the work ethic to do it? You know, because I believe to do the job right, you got to have a strong work ethic.
Well, you have to. Otherwise, you're going to become complacent and just take a little bit of money and just relax and cruise. Look at what we got.
Yes.
Just cruise through.
and play the game.
Because
so
it's-
we
it's-
don't want no game players.
It's
man.
really easy just to kick back and take staff's advice and let the staff run amok and do whatever they want. That's easy. It's hard to stand up and say, you know what, no.
Yeah.
This isn't right. We gotta squelch this.
Yeah, I believe we got to get a supervisor in there that's going to do, like I said, oversee your department heads, okay, and look for that waste because it's there, guaranteed, it's there, and plenty of it. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the politically correct term for that would be identifying the indeficiencies. How's that sound?
We're not real political correct
Yeah.
here, but okay.
it sounds
That's a euphemism.
it sounds pretty.
See, I told you she
But-
was going to make us kindler and gentler.
We'll train her.
I like
Uncoachable.
I don't think there's much need
that.
there.
Sounds real nice, Liz, but I'm more of the just weed out the garden type.
There you go.
Yeah. Go get the weeds out.
With a hoe or a machete?
See, there it comes.
I like power equipment. Yeah. Anyway.
That's a gender thing. Power tools.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, gender. It's gender driven.
Yes, yes.
All
More
right,
power.
well, let's get back into the thick of it because
Yes.
we were about to discuss a letter that went out to the Board of Supervisors and some department heads within Sutter County and City of Yuba City, I believe, that received portions of that grand jury report that didn't end up being
Well,
released.
the letter
Darren
does
didn't
not
get
state who it went to, right? That's
The
speculation.
content will reveal that. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on June 14th, you were mailed a preliminary copy of the 2017-2018 grand jury report, sections that pertains to your department. After those copies were mailed, the grand jury elected to not publish an authorized final report. Therefore, there is no report for your department to respond to. Please be advised that any physical or electronic copies of the preliminary report continue to be confidential unless it is ultimately included in an authorized final report. Los Angeles Times versus Superior Court, 2003, Section 114, Cal App 4th 247. Very truly yours, the Honorable Sarah H. Heckman, Advisor to Grand Jury.
I have several questions.
Oh, really?
The first was, why did Sarah Heckman
Jump back in.
why did she jump back in as the advisor to the grand jury when she was replaced by Judge Aronson? Why did this letter come from her? That's my first question. And of course, we don't have the
We
answer
just have
to that.
blank
We just have
stares on our
questions. We have questions. Now, something you just read, because I'd read the letter, but something you just read reminded me, because that article came out on the appeal, because the letter says, referred to an authorized final report. I'm pretty sure I read in these questions and answers that they published this morning, the report doesn't have to be authorized by the judge, is what I'm trying to read it in the article, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read this morning.
The article in the Appeal Democrat you're talking
Yes,
about,
okay.
referring to?
The
Yeah, because
whitewash.
here it is. The question is a judge required to sign off on a grand jury report before it is published? And the answer is, Sloan said a grand jury can release a report without approval of an advising judge. So why is she saying that you can't talk because there's not a, quote, authorized final report? What does she mean by authorized final report?
I think that would mean them signing off on it.
Signing off on it, which is a whole catch-22 thing, because they didn't sign off on it. It's against the law. Yada, 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 talk to the sock.
And they didn't sign off on it because...
Because it'd been rewritten by somebody, one of their advisors, several times.
This is a speculation.
All alleged.
But, okay,
yeah.
so
So, I mean, I'm
follow me with my train of thought, because, okay, I'm trying to stay focused. So with the author, there's no authorized report because they didn't sign the report.
Right.
because
They
the
refused to.
judge wanted them to sign something different. They don't need his approval for
No.
that report. They can sign what they originally drafted.
Unless they were threatened in some way.
Ah. So there was some kind of threat made to where, well, we can only speculate, right? As to why they wouldn't sign their original work, which they did want to stand behind, but they refused to sign a reduced work that had no resemblance of what they actually put together.
I would venture to throw this into the mix. There's probably a certain level of intimidation that goes on all the time, okay, with your average Joe off the street who's now in the grand jury coming in to their ball field, basically. And then their ball field, it's lawyers and judges and public employees and, back scratching and all kinds of things like that happening. So
Thomas,
the average
I'm
guy.
shocked.
Well, I'm just trying to, I'm just thinking as an average American, what I think. And I believe that it is a bit intimidating to a lot of people. So there are a lot
we have
more
some evidence of that
manipulatable.
intimidation right here in our hand with this letter. This is intimidation. This letter from the judge, the Superior Court judge, to the Board of Supervisors and the department heads is basically saying, you better keep your mouth shut. It's a gag order. It's saying or else.
Could be, yes. And one thing that strikes my interest is what you refer to a lot when you're talking about the constitutional classes and teaching, and this is something that we're really sick of, is the very last line. It says, it shows a court case, okay? Always, this is their program. And we had this little argument with the guy running for city council the other night. It's precedent, okay?
Right.
They've precedented the whole Constitution right out of existence.
Yeah.
They have.
In
Yes,
my
they have.
opinion, yes.
They keep referring to court cases that have made erroneous opinions that have no basis in the Constitution, what the state Constitution says. So all of these opinions are wrong, and yet they keep referring to them.
Yes. So we
It's a
have
vicious cycle.
erosion. That's the way I'm seeing it. So then,
Precedent was so important, we still have slave owners. Because at one time, slave owning was a precedent.
Yes.
So, in past radio programs for the political spotlight, I think that I heard somewhere that the pages 5, 6, and 7 that were omitted allegedly have to do with some.
Somebody getting caught in a lie.
Oh, or perjuring? Is that the word, Bill?
Yes.
Perjury
Perjure.
Specifically, it
is
was
one of those soft language.
It was County Council Gene Jordan was supposedly the topic of those pages 5, 6, and
Again,
7.
I'm shocked.
So this is, I'm kind of outside of the parameter here. I'm just, this is things that you may have heard through the grapevine on these.
Yes.
Because there's no published report.
There's no published report.
Yeah. So.
Well, there
That's
is
why
a
we
published
say
report.
allegedly.
There's a
I
preliminary published report.
would like to let the listening public, because we are conversationalists, right? We're having a conversation. I have it on good information that County Council Gene Jordan's contract is set to expire here. And as an at-will employee, I think that every single tax-paying citizen in Sutter County needs to phone their supervisor and tell them, deny, do not renew that contract. She has not done the citizenry or the county due diligence.
Yep. This is where you exercise your authority as the public, as we the people. This is how you exercise that authority that we have.
Yeah.
And your vote does count.
And you do have 2 supervisors running for office. Well, you did have. You had one run unopposed. So the fact is you need to call him just as well.
That would be Dan Flores, who
That
got a
would be
walk.
My
Yes.
supervisor.
Dan got a walk. We have
My
Mike.
supervisor is Solinger.
That's correct.
Yeah. But
District 1.
Here's the thing: they all get a vote, so we need to be calling them all, and they all, even my supervisor,
Matt.
It doesn't matter who my supervisor is because another supervisor's vote is going to affect me.
Sure.
I have every right to call every single one of them
Yeah.
and tell them that they need to act according to the will of the people.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all servants of the people, whether they're in your district or not. I mean, I'm with you on that, Tammy. They're all employed by our tax-paying dollars. So
Yep,
yes.
and we put them in there and we can take them out.
Yeah.
And we may not, I don't know that we're ever going to see this grand jury report, but what we can do is we can speak at the ballot.
Yeah, and we can exercise our freedom of speech like we're doing right here, right now, because this just all stinks.
Yeah.
It does.
Reeks.
It
What
reeks.
power does this? We just got a question. What power do the supervisors have? I thought if at this point with Jean Jordan, if she's up if her contract's up, she's an at-will employee of the county supervisors, correct? So they could say, you know what, we just don't want to renew our contract. See you
Exactly.
later.
That's right.
You're done.
Adios.
Yep. See ya. It's kind of like the city council with Steve Krager. They could just say, you
Yeah.
know what, we're done with
At
you. See ya.
will. Bye-bye.
There's another at-will employee whose contract is coming up.
Are you talking about county?
Yes.
Scott Mitnick.
Yes.
That is also alleged.
To tell you the truth, in California, that's what all employment is at will.
Well, not whenever you get to the city level or state level
Well-
or county level.
Or elected.
Because
That's why they have
yeah.
those closed sessions.
But when you read stuff from the labor board, it's stated that it is at will employment in California. At your will, you can quit anytime, and at your employer's will, they can fire you anytime.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the way it ought to be.
Yes, but I don't know about when it goes into the city and county and
unions.
that public sector. They might have a different set of rules.
Oh, by far.
By
far.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, is that we, the people, are exercising our First Amendment right, and we are bringing these things to the surface. We're shining our light on them, right? We're the spotlight. And we're going to keep them in the spotlight, and we're not going to let these topics die down or subside or people move on to the next scandal. We're going to keep reminding them because every single time we have election, and even we don't even have to have an election because we have another process. It's called recall. We can recall every single one of them who do not listen to the requests of the people, the demands of the people, because we, the people, want to see that report. And I want to make another point is the fact that this Appeal Democrat came out with this article today with all these questions and answers that they gave Judge Aronson this platform to respond.
Softball.
And allegedly, there is a statement from the grand jurors themselves that was presented to the Appeal Democrat that we've never seen Hyde and O'Hara from the Appeal Democrat. So why are they not speaking for the grand jurors, but yet they're giving the judge a voice in their paper? Why is that, Appeal Democrat?
Why is that?
I think that's business as usual for that newspaper.
It's my understanding that the release of that report that isn't a report is simply a misdemeanor. Now, I wouldn't want to have a misdemeanor against my record. I have no misdemeanors or felonies against my record, but it's only a misdemeanor. So,
Well, not yet. I mean, we can get in time, we can get everything.
I'm sure there'll be a
all
law.
the laws changed. Where walking across the street without permission could
Have
be
you
a
ever
felony.
wadded up a receipt and threw it in the bed of your truck whenever you came out of Home Depot and then it blow out? I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen a few
No,
times.
I have to record all my receipts.
Well, I'm just saying, I've lost things out of the bed of my truck before.
Yes.
Blowing out, even
Yes.
cans.
Kids, dogs.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
You hit a bump, it
The
happens.
dogs you go back for, the kids can find their way home. So, but no, so I mean, if somebody drove around with 300 or 400 or 500, 600 copies of these things and just drove around town, I don't think that you could be in trouble for losing it. I think it's only if you give it away.
Yeah. If you
Drive down my street a couple of times back and forth. with
That
a few of
might
these-
be a fine line there, my friend.
What if a copy just appeared here at Mount Huth?
Exactly.
I mean,
just taped to the door.
darn.
I mean,
There's no cameras out at Mount Hood.
Well, apparently you can
And if
even
there were,
store
we
things.
know how to erase them.
You can even store information on an unsecure server and have no repercussions whatsoever. You can store highly classified information on your private server at home and never, ever, ever have to answer for that.
We
Or
like to we call that pulling a Hillary Clinton.
Highly
it's okay.
classified means stuff they don't want the people to know,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
so,
one thing-
grand jury
like
report.
the JFK assassination.
let's not forget we have some interesting things coming up this week. Number one, Danelle Stylos, her case will be, I believe, on the 25th.
25th, yeah.
The 25th, Danelle Stylos and her attorney, Jesse Santana.
Can you tell the people who this lady is?
Danelle Stylos was a county employee that was arrested. She made some mistakes. Clearly, that was verified. But as more details have emerged, it seems that perhaps the punishment didn't quite fit the crime. So her attorney, Jesse, the headlines of the Appeal Democrat a couple days back, I lose track of time, but he did another preservation demand because he believes that in that grand jury report there could be evidence that his client could be exonerated. So when he did the demand, the preservation demand, I believe that is called discovery. I'm not an attorney, and I've never needed one for that matter. Mm-hmm. However, when you
I
have
did watch Law and Order a few times. Go ahead, Liz.
well, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to find out
So
here.
she's having a court date.
Her hearing. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's open to the public, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I might need my Kevlar vest, but I'll be there.
Yeah.
I get to go before. Well, I don't have a court date.
Yes, you do.
You have a hearing date.
I have a hearing date. It's a kangaroo court. So I won't even bring that up, I guess. It's the 2nd of August that I get to go to my
Mickey Mouse
kangaroo court.
ears.
What's that?
A kangaroo court with Mickey Mouse ears.
Exactly. Palm trees that aren't in my backyard. But okay, well,
Moving on.
I'm looking forward to that
But you
one.
had to pay the fine in order to be heard.
Yes. You have to pay the fine, then you can get hurt.
Fair. You're guilty. And
Well, and what I like is the 8th Amendment says that excessive fines won't be imposed. Mm-hmm. The highest fine on this ticket is $300, except for the new one that's $1,000. And it's like, really? It's a little excessive, but I guess it's not an excessive fine because it says, in our Constitution, it says excessive fines will not be imposed.
of course, they all took an oath to that same Constitution, so they would know
Exactly.
excessive if they saw it. right?
Exactly. So we're gonna have a good time talking about this because on the ticket it says that the palm trees are in his backyard, and that's where the fireworks were.
Actually, I thought I told you that this morning.
Yes, you
But
did.
it even says it on the ticket. I looked again and it doesn't.
What does it say on the ticket?
It just says dangerous fireworks. Yeah. So
just
that
show-
was just the verbal that he told us because we're asking like
That's okay.
why.
Just show
But
me
there's
the
two
proof.
witnesses, right?
Yeah.
Well,
No. And just show
yeah,
me the
his,
proof.
his
All
right eye and his left eye.
all I want to see is the proof.
verbal communication.
Oh yes, the
both
verbal.
Of,
Yeah,
both of you heard it.
both
right?
of us were there.
Well,
Yeah,
two witnesses.
yeah.
I like cherry bombs.
Well,
Do they still make those? I mean, when I was in high school.
I wouldn't know. Fireworks are dangerous.
Oh,
I thought that
yes.
that was like a Coca-Cola product. No?
A cherry bomb.
Depends on how much you shake
The ones I remember had fuses on them.
That's right. They were red. They're about the size of a.
Golf ball?
No, not that
Yeah.
big. I don't
Yeah.
remember them that big.
Yeah.
I would have liked to.
Well, I can guarantee you today those are not safe or sane. Okay? Are we clear?
As long as you throw
Yes.
them quick enough.
Oh man. Well, anyways, we'll see how my kangaroo court turns out because that ought to be pretty interesting.
Okay, so back to, are we done talking about this grand jury?
I could go on all day
cover up
long.
Well, you know,
Seems like-
the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans are going to have a meeting on this coming Thursday. It'll be at the City Council chambers in Yuba City, and that's going to be a main topic of discussion there. So, all you
And
Republicans,
the
all
public
those
is welcome to that meeting, of
public's
course.
welcome. If you're not a Republican, you know, we're going to have registration forms there, so you can become a Republican.
If you're not a Republican, walk away.
Yes.
Walk away.
Walk
Walk
away and
away.
become one.
Come to the light.
That's right.
Come to the light. We're very welcoming.
And if you don't know what the walk away
Movement.
Yeah.
Walkway
movement
movement,
is,
I
yeah.
heard about that this
yeah,
week.
just type that in. No spaces. Walk away. Let's see
Well,
what comes
you
up.
know, but here's the thing: if there's somebody who knows something about the grand jury report, if we're wrong, come and tell us why we're wrong. That we don't need to see it. I invite that too. I mean,
Because that-
I would love to hear that side of it.
Most of what we're doing is guessing, you know, after seeing corruption our whole life, right?
Exactly.
So,
And I would love to hear why we aren't intelligent enough to see it. I mean, I was told how unintelligent I was this week by one of the people running for city council because I don't have a law degree. So I mean, I can handle it. I'm a big boy. I can handle being told that I'm unintelligent because I don't have a law degree or whatever it may be that I don't have. But I would really like to have that argument with you, and you tell me why that the people shouldn't see the report that we actually paid through our taxes.
yes. And that it is their job to, in my opinion, I believe, reveal it.
They
Provide
report.
it. Provide
Yes,
it.
yes.
So we're
That's the
working
whole
on.
premise of the deal.
Yep. We're
Bring it.
working on. Let's get Jesse Santana to that constitutional
We'd like
Republican
we'd
meeting.
like to see that.
I think that he could really do a fine job of an explanation.
Does he have a law degree?
He does.
Yes.
Because I need it explained to me, obviously, because I don't have one.
All right, we're getting close to the top of the hour. You're listening to 1410 AM, The Patriot.
Oh, wow.
104.3 FM.
Yes.
I'm not even going to have Take Us Out music because, I blew that one off.
Yeah, so when we come back, we'll continue.
We'll be right back after this. This is Fox News. All right, we're back. Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight out here. At
And we're
Mountain
2 hours behind.
Yes, we are. We're always 2 hours behind, it seems like.
And that was our musical pick to be our tribute to our next topic. We had an interview this past week. The Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight conducted an interview with Val Dillon, who's running for superintendent of schools.
Dr. Val Dillon.
Dr. Val Dillon. That's right. So just so people know, they don't get to pick their song. We pick it for them.
That was emotional, man. I'm sure you did her right, girl.
Yeah.
You did her good.
Yep.
Yeah, and she is a doctor, like you said, and that doesn't come easy,
No.
you know?
Hard work.
Yes.
That's definitely something that became super apparent is, wow, she is a dedicated, hard worker.
Her entire
Yes.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the same thing upon that interview.
They're an image of the American dream. I mean, like all of us here are actually, but I mean, she is also. And it's just, it's basically in this country what you make of it. I mean, if you want to go out and work hard and do something, you can get ahead. Even in this crazy ass state, you can still kind of get ahead and have a good life. Now, I don't know for how much longer, but I mean, if you want to in America, you can get out, scratch, bite, work, and get it done and get to the top and have a good life.
Yes, and as long as you recognize that, you have to pay your certain amount of extortion fees out to the government.
Well, as long as you're paying the EPA what you owe them and air quality what you owe them and sweeps what you owe them.
Yes.
And then you're paying your Gestapo fee to whatever his name is, Darren Gale, down at the little fascist down at City Hall. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
as long as you're paying all your fees, you're good.
Yes.
All
So,
the fashion.
you
You
know,
know, Darren Gale is bordering on being a Nazi.
Hey, be nice to Darren now.
I'll give him your
some
shot.
kudos.
He was a driving force behind the Yuba City resolution, anti-sanctuary city resolution. I'm sure.
Because our city council couldn't do that on their own. They needed to follow staff's lead.
That's right.
So maybe we need to get our city council out of there and get them to have their
Well,
own
at
brain.
least the trash trio.
If I only had a brain.
Trash trio.
Yeah, the trash trio. Hey, the whole trash trio is up for election.
That's right.
So
No.
Well, one
so,
of them
hey,
has
hey,
declined.
we got sidetracked here. We were
Yep.
talking about Dr. Bal
that's
Dillon.
right.
this
Yes.
whole show is one big sidetrack.
Yes, yes.
Pull us
We're
in,
chasing
Thomas.
rabbits here.
Pull us in. Pull us in. Let's go.
Yeah, so I mean, I was very impressed. First of all, she showed up upon request,
Thinking she
Yeah,
might come into
and
something she
you
didn't
know,
want.
number one issue, right, Jason? You got to show up to the
Showdown.
showdown. That's right.
Pastor Dave.
Yes,
You got to show up to the showdown,
got to
buddy.
show up to the showdown. So that was she showed up to the showdown, and she was very good as far as her demeanor.
Forthright.
Yes, pleasant to talk to.
Yeah.
And we got some history on her upbringing and her family value, program
Yeah.
and her work ethic. And I had to say, I was pleasantly surprised. Definitely, I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, I want to
And,
back up for just a little bit because whenever you show up to the Yuba Sutter political spotlight and the constitutional Republicans, whenever you show up to that, it is kind of like showing up to the showdown sometimes. I mean, I remember Tammy ready to call across the table at one point.
Well,
And
we
Liz-
don't hold back.
And Liz was just what I come to know as Liz now to our other candidate. But hey, it was all good.
Isn't it beautiful to be yourself?
Yes, it is.
Right?
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
And individuals, and we're all
Not have to be guarded
yes.
and watch what you're seeing.
we're all
and-
part of that wonderful creation, put together by God Almighty. He created us individuals, and we were on His drawing board before He started creation.
Yep.
So that's the beauty of liberty. To be yourself.
And we're all created in His image. So
Yes.
I have a pretty bolstered self-image because of that knowledge.
Yes. And you know what? Don't forget what it says after that. Male and female, He created them.
That's right.
Yes. So
Oh, I know.
want to put that out there. Male and female.
I don't want to go down too far of a squirrel hole, but I went to Faith Christian, and I remember very early on a little lesson that man was created in God's image, and from man, God took a rib and created woman, right?
Yes.
And when Adam saw what God had created, he said, "Whoa, man."
That's good.
Yes.
We like that.
Yes.
And in my world, it's
And from there on, she did cause him a little grief. I do remember that part of the story.
Well, I don't think you've ever been through childbirth, so we got paid
Yes,
back.
I was. I went through it
no, you didn't.
when I
No,
was
you-
born.
That isn't what she meant.
Oh, you're not talking about that. Okay.
All right.
Talking about squeezing a watermelon out your,
Yes.
Reining it back in.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
down the rabbit hole, back up the rabbit
I would
hole.
like to say how much I appreciated, for one, how much time she spent with us.
Yes.
Because we typically will try to keep these within an hour so we're not too intrusive on their schedules. And also because we have a lot of these to do. So
Well, we blew it with her.
we did. We were there quite a while. And it was good because we ended up only having the one. We're trying to pile them up 2 at a time now because there's so many. But we had just the one, and which was great. It went pretty late. But what I super appreciated was at the very beginning, the very first thing she wanted to share with us is she wanted to explain to us what her position was all about. She has a very good grasp of why she's there and what she does. And not a lot of people understand the role of the superintendent of schools. We didn't.
Right.
We had a superficial, glossed overview of it, but she spent so much time really getting us to understand. And it was not done in a condescending, I know this and I'm going to educate you. She really cares about what she does, and she wanted to share with us her perspective and so that we could understand the significance of it as well. So it was very well presented.
I don't think she ever once said, "Who here's been to law school?" and raised her hand.
She never did that.
Yes.
Not at
Tammy,
one
would
time.
you say that you were more educated going out than you were coming in? Because that's what
Oh,
Dr.
yes.
Bell does.
Always.
I was.
She's an educator.
Yeah, and she does it in such a way that you don't feel offended. Like, there are some people you talk to, and they just want you to know that they're smart. And, it's so irritating, and it's so arrogant, and it's so obvious. But she was sincere, and she was genuine.
There's a big difference between being smart and being wise.
Yeah.
And how about being
A smart
And being
ass.
cocky
confident.
and being
Yeah.
And being
confident
Jason.
and cocky?
Yeah, I like
Big difference.
You know what I liked is we asked her some questions about things that we wanted to see changed, about the curriculum, things like that. And she was very forthright of, that's not my job. That's your job at the state level to go see the state.
Well, to see the district. She said you show up at the district office, and there's an opportunity to review those curriculums.
Yes, but she said if you want to change the curriculum, you have to go to the state,
that's true.
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
guy who's getting the
Yes.
runoff.
Yes.
But she wasn't blowing smoke at anybody or anything. She was telling you exactly how it worked and how the system works, regardless of
Yes.
whether you like it or not. This is how it
Yes,
works. And this
yes.
is what you need to do.
So there was no pandering.
No,
No.
Yeah.
No.
I can't stand pandering. Man.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. I can't stand pandering.
Gotcha.
Yep. And I appreciate that.
Yes.
We want to hear the truth.
Yes.
We want to know. If you can't resolve that problem, she admitted that wasn't her role, but she educated us as to where we go to fix that. It
So
was awesome.
I genuinely believe that she is interested in getting the best education for the student body in our area and getting them ready to go on into being adults that are not, living on the streets or sucking on the, what's that word?
That's called the tit of the government.
Yes. So
Sorry, ladies.
Making me blush.
she was definitely genuinely interested in the education. Now, as far as the curriculum, we got two women here that are laughing uncontrollably. Okay.
Because I have little things that pop into my head that are like inside words that you can't say.
Yes.
And we're pretty much both visual people
Yeah.
here.
But
So you need a video,
yeah.
or there's one playing in your head.
So
Well, Tom,
anyway,
you are an expert at your trade,
yes.
kind of like Stan Cleveland is at his,
Yes.
right?
Sheetrocker.
Yes. Yes.
So
Our
I think,
trade is a lot cleaner than theirs.
No
To
pooping
say
and peeing in
the
tubs.
To say
You don't
the
use,
least.
you don't use the tubs as your bathroom.
No,
Oh.
we have our own equipment too.
You do.
So-
Oh,
Yes.
I would be interested to know about Dr. Dillon's stance on trades, because I think that she has a firm grasp on the reality that education does not necessarily mean classroom. And so we need to get back a hold of our trades.
Yes, and I believe she's genuinely wanting to push in that direction. And get. Matter of fact, she asked for my number because
She
I
thinks
told her
you're cute?
we're well, maybe.
Does she
But,
know you're married for 40-something years? You said that.
Killing me, Smalls.
This will be 40 exactly, Liz. Yeah. But yeah, she is moving in that direction to get careers going in the different trades and different businesses that are not
Bringing back
requiring
that
college education.
ROTC type
Yes,
stuff. We
yes.
talked about that a lot.
ROP.
Yeah, regional occupation program. yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
ROTC.
ROTC would be good too.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You must
Now-
be. I'm absorbing through osmosis here, sitting next to Liz.
Yeah, there's some osmosis
With
going
the
on
three
for sure.
patriots, she squirted out.
Okay. So check it out. You guys are going to have to be separated from now on. This isn't going to work.
This is perfect. It's perfect.
So now, on the other hand, we did ask Dr. Bell about her political party.
Yes, we did.
And she said she was declined to state.
Uh-huh.
Right? So I have whenever I hear that, I always have a sneaking suspicion that means I'm a Democrat. So,
And I do too.
okay.
Now, I registered DTS at one point in my life.
You
Rebel.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
because.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Several.
I did too, and they told me that I couldn't even be on the Republican Central Committee, and that was their excuse they gave. So I went down and changed my political standing. I got on the Republican Central Committee, and they still kicked me off. But actually, I moved to
They
a different
didn't
district.
kick you off.
I moved to a different
You
district.
moved.
But now it sounds like they're going to ask me to be back on.
You are
like-
on.
You
Well,
actually
I'm
are
an
on. You're an
alternate.
alternate.
I'm an alternate, but yeah, it's kind of whatever.
You know, I think it's important to state that these are all what we're talking about here are nonpartisan offices.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And even my sheriff guy is undeclared.
DTS, yeah.
Undeclared. Is there a difference between undeclared, declined to state?
Decline
Sure.
to state. I think decline to state is the way it used to be on your registration.
I think
I
that
don't.
the
I
U
don't wish to
the
say.
U stands for unicorn for Brandon Barnes because he's so unique.
Undeclared and declined to state. They're two. Yeah, none of the words match there, so it's two different things.
No, I don't. This is just my opinion. I don't think there are two different. I think it's just one. I think it's declined to state is what it's. I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
So,
It
what
is.
reason I brought that up is because we know that when it comes to Democratic Party, it is a lot of leaning left, which we, kind of abhor a little bit here. Not that we love all Republicans either, but we do like the platform that is,
Conservative.
yes, conservative, constitutional. We believe in marriage between a man and a woman. We don't believe in killing the unborn, stuff like that, right? And that platform is the platform that we support. So,
Well, and I think.
and I think that's important
Yeah.
to know, no matter if it's a nonpartisan office, I still want to know, what is the makeup of this person?
That's true. And I thought where you were going with this was because we had a really in-depth conversation with her. And even though somebody's declined to state, you through your conversation, you see where they stand and
Where
where
their
they fall,
values
where their
Yes,
values are.
yes.
And so that was clear.
So she
clearly.
leaned more to the same family value that I had.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say that,
I think
yes.
Jason just got the letter.
Yes.
He may just got the report.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
the alarm's going off.
Oh.
I think maybe
Yes.
somebody's after
I
us.
think the alarm went off.
I hear. I thought it was just tinnitus, but
Well, the other thing Dr. Dillon shared with us is her new, I don't know if this is new, I hadn't seen this before, but she has a flyer that has a couple inside pages that says there's a career bound chart and there's a college bound chart. And these are her goals for setting into place over the next couple years. She has goals by 2020 to have set in place that puts students at an advantage when they're either entering into a career at the end of their high school or whether they're college bound at the end of their high school. And I really appreciated the career bound part, because I guess currently from the chart, the ag welding, she used that as an example. She said there's other technical training programs, but she used ag welding as an example. So they're only eligible to start taking that in 11th and 12th grade, which means they get 2 years of ag welding, an ag welding 1 and a 2. Her goal is to introduce the ag welding 1 way back at the 9th grade, so that by the time they come out of high school having 4 years of that welding, they'll have twice the salary they could as it stands now.
Yes, I like that too. That was a good program.
Yeah. So that really does, because we all know kids are all different. They have different, some people need to be worked with their hands, and other people are just studious and are college bound, and it's evident.
Yeah. Now the career path, that's not picking up aluminum cans all night long. Okay. and
Depends if you're on the tweaker path, I
running
guess.
out in traffic with no lights on, at 4
Did
o'clock
Dr.
in the
Dillon
morning.
have a tweaker path?
I did not see a tweaker path.
No,
on
she
the
doesn't have a
flyer.
tweaker
Now,
path
not
program.
to disparage Dr. Dillon, but we're also going to have an interview next week
with Mr.
with
Russer.
Mr. Russer.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And we
Which-
look forward to that.
We look forward to that, and all this, our critiquing or letting you know of our impression of Dr. Dillon probably is just raising the bar a little bit. So now you gotta show up to the showdown and knock our socks off.
Well, hey, we're going to call them like we see them, and
Yeah.
that's a fact.
We want to be able to glean significant perspectives from these interviews and really get to know these candidates, because we're here to be that passionate voice of the people. And so if not everybody has an opportunity to do an in-depth get to know you interview,
Yes.
or show up to a forum or watch one on Facebook,
Yes.
then we're here to tell you what we think, and you can either agree with us or hate us.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be
Yeah.
an in-between.
So just to get back to the DTS thing, DTS is what the designation they use in the county registration at the clerk's office. I
And
believe.
it stands for decline to
Declined to
state.
state. And when you go to register or re-register, because we'd like to see a lot of people re-register as Republicans, it is the question is asked, no, I do not want to disclose a political party preference. And that's one of the check boxes on it, among others.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. So
So let's talk about emojis.
well,
I hate them.
Emojis?
because our conversation during the interview with Dr. Dillon, we ventured into a lot of family values and the parents' role in bringing up the child versus what they learn at home versus what they learn in school, and understanding the
She
difference.
was very strong on that point.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
How
instilling
critical it
character
was.
traits in your children, and it has to start at home.
Yes.
We can't be relying on the public school system to be teaching our children what their character, how their character needs to be composed of, because then we're left with, that state law that now requires them to be subjected to the significance of LGBTQWXYZ's contributions.
Yeah, man, how many
to
more alphabets are they going to add to that? I mean, how many
As many
more
as they need.
deviations are there?
It's gender A through Z.
There you go.
There you go. Gender A
That
through
covers
Z.
it in
There-
in America anyway.
Hey, I just want to drop a shout out to One Eye Blind Media. He does our uploads after the show, and he is in South Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina, South Carolina. What's the
Hi,
difference?
y'all.
How y'all doing? So, Chris Starkey, hope you're having a good time back there. I know you're back there for other reasons, but I hope you're having a decent time anyways, and we look forward to seeing you whenever you get back, buddy. But anyways, One Eye Blind Media, he does a solid service for us by getting us uploaded onto YouTube and gives us some shout outs when he's doing his Facebook lives. We really appreciate the guy. Also, with that being said, anybody who's running a candidate, is a candidate running a campaign this year, check him out. He can really help you out with some of your graphic design and also on your Facebook page and everything else. I've looked at some of the Facebook pages, and I'm telling you, you guys need to talk to him because you need some help. That's all I'm going to say. Just talk to him because you need some help with your Facebook page. I can see it already. And, no joking around. I really feel that if you don't think it's true, you probably ought to have a talk with Jeff Pierce. I think if his campaign manager would have been a little bit more up on Facebook and would have been just a little bit more on cue, we would have had a totally different outcome for the campaign we just went through, the election we just went through. And I don't think Houck would have made it. I mean, he only won him by 500 votes. And I'm telling you, from what I saw, I think if it would have been a little bit different on his Facebook page and had a little bit more coordinates on, a little bit more correspondence on his Facebook page and just a little bit better
graphics.
Yeah, graphics and just a little bit more out there in the public, I believe it would have been a totally different outcome.
Yeah. You just don't want to send back that half a box of tissue. That's what it is.
I already sent back the box of tissue. I didn't have to cry over it.
Turns out we didn't need it.
Didn't need the whole thing.
We were very happy with the
That's
results.
Right. Yeah. So, and the one thing is I really like Brandon, and now it's only going to be that much easier for Brandon to win.
Yes, I agree with you on that, Jason.
I think it's going to be that much easier for him to win, and it's a done deal. Yeah. But I just, I saw that go down, and I really think if you don't think the graphic design of your Facebook page makes a difference, keep going the route you're going. There's only one guy I like for right now for city council race, so guess what? The rest of you keep going the way you're going. You're doing fine. But seriously, if you want some help, I think Chris Starkey would be a good way to look into and get some help there.
Now, are we going to talk about this young man that interviewed with us for the city council?
We are. I'm going to. Tammy wanted to talk about soft skills real quick.
Okay.
We talked to the Ball Dylan about that, so I'm going to play this real quick about soft skills, and then we'll get into him.
Okay.
Oh, if I can load it here, right? There we go. Now it'll play.
Help is on the way.
Don't know if it's a harbinger of the end of days, but it is troubling because you have to ask regarding emojis, what is next? I mean, just grunts? Interpretive dance? I mean, right, look, we don't, grown people are now communicating with texts that say, you are great, but great is GR8. Right? I mean, it's like the language and mnemonics. We're all hooked on phonics again with now the little emoji things combined. I don't know what's happening, but if you want me to make a serious point, what about this? What if this slow degradation of the language is actually a component of the demise of soft skills? And
what are soft skills?
Soft skills are those things that allow you not to take a phone call during a job interview, to maybe pull your pants up, tuck your shirt in, show up on time. The basic things that many employers bemoan today that seem to be conspicuously lacking in much of the, what you call the employable people looking for jobs, right? They're not using their words to a degree that's making people excited about hiring them. And that ultimately is why the emojis got to go with the Velcro shoes.
How big a part of employment is that?
Well, look, the people I talk with who are really trying to close the skills gap in their own part of the world, they say it's the most critical. The most critical thing that nobody talks about is passing the drug test. Right? That's huge. That's half, more than half gone. But the thing that we often talk about with the skills gap is the lack of skill, obviously. But then we discuss the lack of will that really fuels it, but it's also the lack of soft skills. People just don't know how to interview. They don't know what to say. They don't know. It's basic, but the erosion of that which is basic has to be germane to whatever it is we think we're talking about right now.
If you could give job, and I know you do this, but if you could give job advice.
All right, so there we have it. What we were talking about, though, is Ball Dylan brought up soft skills. And that really interested me that she brought that up after we played this last week even, that she brought that up, that, that is a lack in our society right now of just being able to talk to people face to face
Yeah.
and communicate your point across.
Tie your shoes.
Amazing.
Pull up
You
your
should have
pants.
went to Walmart with me and my brother last night. My goodness.
Oh,
When we were checking out, I mean, we could not understand what in the world the clerk was talking about. and we just looked at each other and shook our heads, going, "What in the world was that all about?"
isn't that amazing?
Yes.
I mean, it's
And-
absolutely no
and,
joke.
you know,
It's amazing.
Soft skills also would be, able to count your change back to a person.
Oh, forget that.
You
Here's
know?
your 60 cents.
Yeah.
And here's your $3.
Yeah, or be able to compute a little bit of the mathematics
Yep.
that go into giving change back.
Well, you made that the other night. You said that the other night when we interviewed Ball.
Yes.
That that's what happened. Is you could you gave him what a 20.
I gave him $20 and a quarter because I owed $4.19.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Now that was a real confuser, boy. We had to get the manager.
And the manager was saying, "Oh, we don't need the quarter,
Hey,
sir."
now
She didn't want to say anything.
Now, I ran across the young man today at Jack in the Box in Marysville that my soda was $2.05 after my senior discount, of course. And he says, "Hey, have you got a nickel?" Because I handed him a 5. So, wow, this kid's on it.
Some have it and some
But I
don't.
handed him a dime, and he handed me a nickel back and $3.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
And counted it out.
That's
So
a scholar.
stunning.
A scholar right
Now,
there.
I will have to say, too, that was very good, what Mike Rowe was saying, okay? But I still like to throw a few emojis in there. But
I know you
I'm
do.
not limited in my other ability.
Exactly.
So if all you have is emojis, you got a problem.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what you were trying to say the other night.
Oh, I was saying shrimp tacos and a cold drink. So it had the shrimp, the taco, the snowflake, and the drink.
And I would
See,
have to
now
say
that-
LOL.
That's what I was trying to say. Afterwards, I wanted a shrimp taco and a
Okay.
cold drink.
I just sent you back a bunch
Okay.
of crap.
I know.
I said, here, figure this out.
But you know what? It would have been easier for me just to write it out real quick. Because I really didn't want shrimp taco. I wanted shrimp nachos, but they didn't have a nacho.
Nope.
So I'm like, well, this is stupid. So, unbelievable.
So, yes, we definitely need to practice those soft skills.
Yes.
And tying your shoes, that's one of them.
So before we get into our next interview, do you need to play anything?
Yeah, I
or-
got to play this.
American exceptionalism, folks. That's when we shoot off fireworks on the 4th of July and think we're special. It's got to be stopped.
There we go. Good.
Gotta be
You feel
stopped.
better now.
Oh, can't have any of that fun having.
Got to
Yeah.
be stopped or at least cited.
Yes. Well, we'll
Best
punish you. when
fireworks
done.
show, man, was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Well,
I
Can't
was
catch
about
it.
7 years old.
hey, like I say, you know what? I'm going to contest it because I want to contest it just because I want to do the Facebook Live. I want to get it out. I want to have a crowd there. And even if there's not a crowd, at least there'll be a Facebook Live. Chris Starkey said he'd be there. I think Bill's going to be there. So we're going to have a few people there. I'll make a mockery of it. It'll be fun. We'll get some recording of it.
You
We'll
want
play
to
it.
get your money's worth. Is that what
Exactly.
you're saying?
I mean, $1,000. It's entertainment. It is what it is. I blow that much at the craps table in Reno, so I might as well just make a fun time of it and call it good.
Maybe we could sell popcorn and soda and make a fundraiser out of it.
There you go. I mean, and if we can get somebody elected who won't put up with this crap, then that would be awesome.
Did you know what I was voted in high school?
What?
Most likely to do? Most likely to succeed at a snack bar. True story.
Well, then maybe we should sell soda.
It
and
was a
popcorn.
huge success, too.
So yeah, we're gonna make a mockery of that. I mean, if I'm gonna spend $1,000, might as well have a good time doing it. So whatever. We'll bring Facebook Live and we'll get it out there. And I want to see. All I'm asking for is the proof. Show me the proof.
Show me the money.
Yeah, you already did that. You showed them the money.
And
now
check
you
it
get
out.
a chance to talk.
Check it out. If the glove doesn't fit, you must quit.
That's right. Oh, let's
Where did we hear that?
LOL,
I like
LOL.
So, anyways, off to our next candidate.
Yeah.
Yes.
This guy.
Young Brad.
Yes.
Yeah. So we also had a time with Brad Westmoreland, who's recently announced his candidacy for the City of Yuba City. What is it called?
City Council.
City Councilman.
Yes.
So there's another hat thrown into the ring with like a dozen others.
He showed up to the showdown.
He did.
He did.
We're going to have quite a selection.
And he turned it into a showdown, I must say.
Well,
Tammy was spitting.
here's the thing. It was going really well. Okay, he was very composed and just
Articulate.
We were having a very amicable conversation.
Sharp dresser.
And he
clean
answered most
cut.
of the questions directly. Except for a couple times.
Yeah.
Except for the
So-
minute that you had to pin him down and go, look, answer the question.
So
So what was that?
So the conversation went in a direction that I'm very passionate about. And
Oh,
I
it
don't
was
even know how
awesome.
we ventured off into those. Something to do with, I think he had made a point about judicial authority powers and made maybe a reference to case law. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I had to make the clarification of where the legislative power resided, and there was a little bit of a disagreement ensued, and we were informed that we couldn't understand the Constitution because we were not capable of interpreting it because we did not have law degrees. And he went so far as to address the group and say, who in here has a law degree? Because he wasn't winning his argument.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, he says, raise your hand. Who in here has a law degree? And he raises his hand. Okay. Wanted to smack that cocky little
raised
smile
my
off
hand
his face
too.
at that moment. So I reply, who in here has read the Constitution? And of course, the room raises their hand. I noticed he didn't. He didn't raise his hand when that question was answered.
Yes.
But that's where the line got crossed.
But I have to say this, and he was familiar with Article 1 and Article 2 of the Constitution, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He was
But
familiar
he has
with
been-
it, and he was familiar with Article 3. That's where he was
Yes.
getting his assumed powers of the judicial branch, which don't actually exist.
Correct.
What he was seemed to just not resonate with him was the word all
Yes.
in Article 1.
Yes.
Or shall not.
Bill Clinton had that problem too, but it was with the word is.
Yes.
And I don't believe that I need a law degree to explain to me what simple words mean in a constitution.
All means everything you got.
Yes, which means there's nothing left.
Yes.
Nothing left.
We want all your money.
Yes. And there's a couple keywords in Article 1. And basically it says all legislative power herein granted. There's the first important reference, herein granted. That means in the Constitution, granted in the Constitution. If it's not in there, you don't have it. It
Yes.
doesn't belong to you.
Granted
So
by
there's-
the people, right?
Granted by the people.
exactly.
Because all the authority in the universe belongs with the people. And we delegate it to
Yes.
the federal government. And we specify exactly what we're delegating to them. And so there's your first point. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress. So all legislative power, that means all of them. There's none left over for anybody else. And the legislative power is the law-making power. So the only people who can make law are Congress.
We're going to go over this whenever he comes to the class, right?
Yes.
And he
I
did
don't
agree.
know if he's gonna make the class.
He agreed to come to the class,
Okay.
and I
Yeah.
believe
We'll
the
see.
young man.
Okay.
And
He
here's
was
the thing.
forthright for the most part.
Yes, he
and
was.
I agreed with him on a lot of things, except for his
Well, he had
determination of the unions.
And we could have had a very respectable debate on this topic, and we could have,
It was
spoken
late in the
about
day-
it.
in
But
the
here's
time
But when
slot.
he threw out the fact that we just couldn't understand because we didn't have a law degree, and then further insulted the whole entire room by saying who in here has a law degree.
That's when Tammy started spitting.
I might just add that I'm glad Jesse wasn't there from the city of Yuba City because you would have owed another $1,000 fine.
Because the fireworks were
Yeah.
going.
But Mr. Westmoreland had me from the time he said Chick-fil-A.
I know you're not that shallow.
I love Chick-fil-A.
Oh my. So anyway, when we have our constitutional seminar, which is just going to be an overview, it's this is a condensed version of our 12-week course. So it's just an overview, but we'll get the finer points. And when I have these constitutional classes, I'm not smarter than anybody. I've simply read the Constitution and I'm simply presenting it. I'm not telling you how to interpret it because it speaks for itself.
I can say this though, Tammy, you've done more than read the Constitution. Okay? You've read it. You've read a lot of articles and authors and historians all about the Constitution too. So you've done your due diligence.
Yeah.
To study the Constitution. And you recognize, like all of us, that we're not there yet. And we're still ongoing and learning about it and studying this great document and that time in history. So, yeah, you've done more than read it.
Yeah.
Well, and I just want to make that point that, I'm by no means a scholar. I've simply read it, and this is just an opportunity for other people to read it because other people don't necessarily in their day-to-day lives make the time to really do an in-depth study and review of this document, and it's just an opportunity to do that.
And it was written for the people.
Yes.
Right? We can understand it. We don't need a lifetime appointed judge that's willing to suck the blood out of us to tell us what it means.
Yes.
So check it out. Somebody just texted in that everybody knows the First and Second Amendment. Well,
we were talking about articles.
Okay.
Yeah, he probably thought we were saying
he was saying amendments. But anyways, I just beg to differ. Remember John Dukes at a forum that we had couldn't recite the.
He don't know the First Amendment.
He couldn't give you one portion out of the First Amendment.
Right.
So not everybody knows it, folks, and this is something that you need to be talking to your elected officials about and asking at least one question out of the Constitution whenever you have your forum.
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce and
Appeal
Democrat. I know you guys don't believe in it, but the fact is you really need to, and you ought to be asking some hardball questions rather than your softball punts that you throw everybody.
I would disagree with that text that was sent in or that comment because I would venture to say that 90% of the people cannot give you the 5 points in the First Amendment.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just want to throw that out there that don't expect that everybody knows it, and most people think that means that the military should have weapons, black scary guns rather than the people.
Right.
So be careful of what you read into that you think your elected officials know.
Now I want to say this too. Mr. Westmoreland was big on stack and pack housing.
Oh, yes, he was. And fairness.
Yes.
Needs to be fair.
Yes.
If you can afford a penthouse on the top floor, then, somebody who doesn't have that much money should be allowed the same opportunity.
I don't think that came out in the conversation. I'm being fair here.
Yes.
That did not come out in the conversation.
But
that's something we talk about on a daily basis because we live it.
but I thought he did think that because we asked him about
remember that
he would not. He kind of waffled on that a little bit
because we did ask him about the wage income adjusted homes.
Yes,
and he did say that yes, and he knew that there was fraud there, but he shouldn't. But basically, shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yes, that's
I
the same impression I got, Jason.
I do remember that.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So to me,
work for it. If you can't work for it, then you don't deserve it. Sorry, we don't deserve anything.
So my opinion was, he's been dipped in the progressive tank. So that's what he goes down in my book as a progressive leftist. Mm-hmm. There it is.
I don't think we've seen them all yet, though. Let's wait and see.
No,
He might
I mean,
be moderate by the
no.
time we get
Yeah,
through.
well, I'm just telling you, this is my impression and on our meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm putting him in my leftist progressive category.
That's where he's going in mine.
You know,
all the way.
They're coming for you, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm not coming,
They're coming
to
to take
Yeah, they're
me
coming
away.
for us all. All right, check it out. Here we go.
Can't touch this. Yeah, that's how we living, and you know you can't touch this. Look at my eyes, man. You can't touch this. Yo, let me bust the funky lyrics. Fresh new kicks and bands. You got it like that. Now you know you wanna dance. So move out of your seat and get a fire girl and catch this beat while it's rolling. Hold on, pump a little bit and let her know what's going on like that.
Catch a fly girl,
Like
pump
that.
her a little bit, let her know what's going on.
That's right. Can't touch this. Dirty wit.
Dirty Wit, buddy. Now, what was the appeal today about Dirty Wit? Did he actually resign?
Yes.
Well, I have the newspaper right here.
All right, let's-
So he resigned because he was innocent. That's right? Yeah, that's how that works.
Well, it says Whitaker resigns from school district.
Huh.
And though the Yuba City Unified School District Board recommended the termination of physical education teacher Jim Whitaker in February, he has now resigned. The Yuba City Unified School District and James Whitaker have resolved their dispute concerning Mr. Whitaker's continued employment with the district, and Mr. Whitaker has resigned.
But nobody's saying anything.
Then it says the details surrounding his resignation are a confidential personnel matter, and cannot be disclosed.
Is that like a Catholic priest and pedophilia? Or?
I don't know. This is not one story I've followed that closely myself.
Was there something
But,
else to do with the timing of that resignation? Was there something coming up in the next week or so that might have affected that decision? I'm just asking.
Yes.
Okay.
What's coming up?
Well, what was scheduled based on previous reports is there was a arbitration panel that he was going to appear in front of.
Oh, yes.
Remember that? So I'm just trying to figure out in my tiny brain why he would want to avoid that.
Yes, you raised your hand. Did you want to answer
No,
that question?
somebody came in the door.
Oh, okay. I thought you're me, calling me.
They're here to take us away.
Hee hee. So let's get back to D-Dub.
D-Dub.
Yes, D-Dub.
D-Dub. So he resigned. So now what? Can he be rehired?
I don't know. Can he resign from the Board of Supervisors too?
Well, this is a separate issue.
Okay.
This is all
this is
school.
Yuba City Unified School District.
We're on a roll.
We are? Well, I think that failed. That recall.
Oh, that was a recall.
That yeah.
No, that wasn't a resignation. That was a recall effort. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he could quit supervisors. But some would say he's just the finest supervisor ever.
Well, he has stated he's not rerunning. That's
Yes,
Is that-
I did read the article, and it states in there that he's said he's not going to seek re-election, I believe, in 2020.
Well, he says that.
Okay,
Yes.
so
That's
Oh, hang on one second, guys.
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what would be the reasonings why he's resigning right now before he would be going to arbitration? So
I'm thinking he thinks he couldn't win that arbitration.
that
That
seems
that arbitration
reasonable.
was to argue the fact of whether or not it was a justified termination by the district, right?
yeah.
So by him resigning, he pretty much says,
we have people wandering into the radio station. It's just kind of we're live radio people. We're kind of busy. That was interesting.
Somebody came out to the station to ask us about the kangaroo court when it was. So
We have a phone.
Might have real evidence.
we may have a real shindig going on.
But to the matter at hand.
Sorry.
Yes. So the arbitration will not be happening. I'm sure that was weighing heavily on Jim's mind, to have to go
Who's
before.
Jim?
Dirty Wit.
Oh,
Sorry.
Dirty Wit.
Yes,
oh, okay.
Dirty Wit.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Jim was.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Dirty Wit.
Okay.
Dirty Wit. So he's off the hook for the arbitration. There was a very hastily called school district meeting, I believe, on July 11th, if that refers to that date. It was a special meeting, and by the time most of the citizens were made aware of it, it was too late to make plans to attend. So,
Happens a lot, doesn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
I can read you what the newspaper says about it, the Appeal Democrat, that is. A small group attended a special school board meeting July 11th to ask board members not to offer Whitaker a settlement, according to media reports. It has not been confirmed whether Whitaker received severance pay or a settlement.
So what I have gleaned from, it's all alleged.
You're
But
one of the best gleaners I know.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So apparently, Mr. Whitaker was hoping to receive a settlement there was a figure thrown out of 3 years. So he's 52 years old currently, or 53, but that settlement would take him into when he could start drawing his retirement.
Imagine that.
Yes. So the public was outraged and said, we should not reward bad behavior. And, but we don't really know. It's kind of like that whole grand jury thing.
Yes. We're
Again.
all mushrooms.
It's all secret.
Kept in the dark.
Squirrel.
Yep. And I think that what Sweeco products, when Mike was talking about the spreaders, it's just easier to spread the manure over the mushrooms, right?
Yes, yes.
And keep us in the dark.
Keeps us growing.
Do you know, would that have been a public process? Would that arbitration been?
I don't believe so.
No.
No.
It would have been behind closed doors?
No.
Well, that,
Yeah.
It would have been, it would have been like the time that the building inspector was
I know. That's what I was
taking
recalling.
the money, and it would have been peers of his that. I mean, really going to arbitration is a good deal. I mean, whenever you look at it, because it's of their peers, and their peers are going, "Oh God, I've done some bad stuff. I don't want to really find him guilty because if this turns around and it's on me, I wouldn't want to be found guilty." So arbitration is a joke.
And
But-
the thing that frustrated me about that process was that you were subpoenaed to testify. And, so we knew what was going on. We had the evidence, we had the proof, but you're not one of those people that's a tattletale. So, but when you're called to testify, you have to tell the truth. So you did. You responded to what you knew and everything. But but then of course that makes us the enemy, right? Because the person who's accused is going around telling everybody that, oh, everybody else is lying and I'm innocent. This happens all the time. But we kept being told, don't worry, when this process is over, the truth will come out and we'll be able to show the evidence, and you guys, they'll see that, what you're saying is simply backing up the evidence.
Nope, it was kind of like the grand jury report. Never came out. Don't talk about
they
it.
buried it. They buried it. They
So
reinstated this person. They sent him out to the poop farm and let him work there for a few years.
Along with Manny Cardoza.
Yeah, that's
The fine, outstanding guy he
That's
is.
the punishment you get when you misbehave as a city employee. You don't lose your job. You just go work at the poop plant for a little bit until people forget about it and people get over it a little bit, and then they bring you back.
So let's not forget that Jim Whitaker still has 2 open criminal lawsuits pending.
Ouch.
I think they're criminal. I thought they're civil.
Or civil.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay, civil. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's bad, but that isn't as bad as criminal. So.
Okay. Now,
But who knows?
There could be.
Whatever comes out of that.
Well,
We don't know.
This cover newspaper, says also the board met in a closed session over litigation at that meeting. So that would infer to me that they talked about the upcoming litigation.
Which
So, I mean, that's what I would gather from that, right? It says the board met in a closed session over litigation at that meeting. Litigation means court processes, right? So, at least for this hillbilly, that's what I think.
Maybe Brad needs to explain it to you.
Yeah.
Well, it would be interesting to see
Is
if
there
he
a
did
lawyer in the room?
So look, we're still 2 hours behind.
I play one on
So
TV
we're-
sometimes. I mean, on the radio.
We're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to just clue you in on what's coming. And
Well, you
then
better hurry.
That's what I'm talking about. Yuba County's 1% sales tax is going to be coming up next week, along with Sutter County taxpayers letter to Levy District 1 and 9. You people who reside in Levy District 1 and 9, you're going to get a Christmas surprise. Well, it's going to be a pre-Christmas surprise. Maybe another assessment just for you.
Well, the cover paper says, with this headline, and this is Friday, Yuba County considers sales tax hike. That's the headline. Okay,
We can't talk about that. We don't have a dog in that fight.
that's right.
Andy's
Well,
told us
no,
time
we
and
do
time
because
again.
I try not to have a dog in the fight whenever possible, but I ended up buying something at Jack in the Box, and I bought something at the petroleum place.
See, I have that problem. I have a problem with that because I
Would that
buy a
be
Coke
fuel?
over here every once in a while.
Yes, fuel,
fuel. Okay.
gas.
Not
Petrol.
Coke. I don't buy
Right.
Coke over here
But
every
what-
once in a while. I buy
what-
a Coke over here every once in a while.
What they should have said, the headline should have said, Yuba County can't wait to get your money. Okay, now that would have been more
Get
realistic.
their hand
right?
in your bottomless pocket.
Exactly.
Yes.
Get
Wake
their
up,
hand in your
people.
bottomless pocket.
Show up and tell them you don't want it.
So, we're going to roll out with a song? Or
No, because we got 30 seconds.
Okay.
Constitutional Republicans, what day, what time?
This coming Thursday.
Thursday. It's been relocated
To the Yuba City Council
chambers because of popular demand. We fear we're going to have more people than can be supported in the Sutter room. So it's removed. It's moved to the council chambers, still at City Hall.
Who's going to get to sit up on the front of the council chambers area?
You are.
No, I don't want to be there. I want to be in the group. I'm a regular person. No, it'll be fun.